Modern 125cc motorcycles are actually a hell of a lot of fun. They're packed with a load of modern gizmos, and even though they're a little bit down on power, you can throw them into corners like they were nothing because they're so lightweight. Yeah, you can definitely have a lot of fun on a modern 125cc motorcycle. But what if I were to tell you that 125s of yesteryear were actually better? Let me tell you what I'm on about. It's actually been a hot minute, guys and girls, since I physically stood in front of the camera doing a motovlog shoot like this. So yeah, glad to be doing those again. Alright, but let me tell you what I'm on about here with modern 125cc bikes. So, and this isn't down to manufacturers either. This is actually because of government regulations and all that stuff. But when I was learning to ride a motorcycle, there were two different types of 125cc bikes you could buy. There were the learner legal ones, which is the one that I had to get because I was on a CBT at the time. And there are the non-learner legal ones. What the hell were they? Well, one thing that I will tell you is that they were better. Okay, so not necessarily better in every single way. I mean, manufacturing standards have gone up since the 90s. The bikes are more reliable these days. They're made out of better quality materials, better metallurgy and all that stuff. But they produced a load more power than these modern 125cc's do. And it kind of brings into question why 125cc was the displacement chosen for learner legal bikes. Some more kids want me to rev out the Ninja 125. It hasn't got any guts. It doesn't have enough to rev out and be, you know, like actually nice to hear. It's just more embarrassing than anything else. But yes, and I think that out of all modern 125s, I think the Ninja 125 has the most torque out of all of them. So if you are looking for as close as you can get to a bigger bike without actually buying one, then the Ninja 125 is probably the way to go. But I could be wrong there. Let me know down in the comment section if there is another 125cc out there in the European market that produces more torque than this one. Because in Europe, there's or at least here in the UK specifically, there's a limit on how much power and how much displacement a learner legal motorcycle can be. But I don't think they mention anywhere about how much torque it can have. And if there's one thing that I've learned about motorcycles, torque makes a motorcycle fun on the street. Horsepower makes them fast, but torque makes them fun. So having a little bit more torque, it makes all the difference in my opinion when it comes to these smaller displacement bikes. Alright, so the reason, I was going to say the reason why 125s in the 80s and 90s were better in terms of power than the modern equivalents was because a lot of them were two-stroke. Now for those of you that don't know the difference between two-stroke and four-stroke, I'll just give you a quick rundown. Basically, a two-stroke engine is where the intake and the compression stroke are the same thing. So when the cylinder breathes in the air and the piston goes up to compress the air and the fuel mixture, right, it's the same stroke. And then the power stroke, the power and the exhaust stroke happens exactly the same time. Whereas in a four-stroke, each of the kind of air in, fuel in, compression, ignition, and exhaust are all different strokes. Alright? And basically the reason why two strokes are more powerful than four-stroke engines is because they have double the amount of power strokes, double the amount of ignitions per revolution, right? So you could get a really tiny motorcycle engine and you could produce a ton of horsepower. I mean, some of these 125s from back in the day were producing 30 horsepower or more. It is just ridiculous how much horsepower a 125cc bike is producing today. And that's what I mean. A lot of these 125s as well are restricted. So I don't quite understand why 125cc was chosen as the engine standard for learner legal bikes. I don't know. I don't quite understand, because you could probably get the same amount of horsepower without restricting it from a 100cc bike instead of a 125. So yeah, I don't know. So I mean, I'm not sure if modern 125s can be de-restricted. I don't even know, because these bikes, of course, they don't go any faster than about 72 mile an hour. Now I think on the Speedo on this Ninja 125, I think I've been able to get it to 75 or 76 mile an hour, but that's not its actual speed. The actual speed it's doing is about 3 or 4 mile an hour less, just because that's how every Speedo in the world is designed. They're always designed to be just off kilter a little bit, so it always looks fast. You always look like you're going faster than you actually are. Like in a 30 mile an hour zone, for example, if you're doing 30 on the Speedo, you're probably doing closer to 26, 27 mile an hour. So it helps you in terms of not getting any speeding tickets, but but yeah, de-restricting a 125 is, I don't know, I'm curious about having a look at what a modern de-restricted 125cc bike would look like. But again, I don't know if that's possible, because a lot of these modern bikes, of course, they're run on computers, so you probably have to get the ECU flashed. But yeah, I mean, 125s from the 80s and 90s, honestly, they were producing anywhere up to 30, 35 horsepower. They were they were doing nearly 100 mile an hour, guys. Some of them even went over 100 mile an hour on spec, de-restricted. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, a big reason why 125s were more powerful than they are today is because they were two-strokes. And the whole two-stroke thing has really fallen out of fashion over the last 20 years. I mean, I think the last two-stroke to be produced was the Aprilia RS125R, I think. And I think they stopped producing that in about 2007. And that's the biggest issue with two-strokes, is they are dirty. They are dirty bikes, because on every stroke they burn oil. Or excuse me, on every ignition stroke they burn oil. So they're not exactly all that eco-friendly. So yeah, the 125s, you see a lot of 125cc two-stroke dirt bikes these days, or just two-stroke dirt bikes in general, because yeah, you want that horsepower, and because it's not on the road, you know, it doesn't matter. You don't have to fall under government regulations. You can, on your own private land, you can pretty much run whatever you want, as dirty as you like. So you do see dirt bikes out there still to this day that are two-strokes. I think KTM sell still quite a few two-strokes, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe they don't anymore either. But yeah, 125s from back in the day, guys, I would absolutely love to have a go on a 125 from back in the day, man. They would have been a lot of fun. I mean, they would have been close to producing a similar amount of horsepower to more modern 250cc bikes. So yeah, it's I mean, well, saying that, there are 300cc bikes that fall under the A2 category of motorcycles today, which is kind of like the next license up. So A1 is 125, up to 125, and A2 is up to, I think, in fact, I think it can be any horsepower, any displacement, but it has to be restricted to, I think it's 45, 46 horsepower, something like that. And I'm telling you, man, some of those 125s were producing between 30 and 40 horsepower. They would have been so much fun. Can you imagine being on a teeny tiny 125 and you'd be able to keep up with a lot of A2 bikes? You know, that's mad. That is mad. But yeah, it's just really funny how times have changed in that sense. Because I bet you that if 125s didn't have to fall under any kind of A1 regulation, and they were just allowed to be 125s, and any horsepower could, will go, they're allowed on the roads for learners, then I do wonder what 4-stroke 125cc bikes today would look like in comparison to the ones that they made in the 80s and 90s. Now I will say that one of the biggest contributions to modern 125cc bikes is fuel injection. The fact that you don't have to worry about carburetors is a really big deal. And any modern 125cc bike is, I believe, fuel injected. So that is a massive plus. But can you imagine what it would look like de-restricted? A four-stroke fuel injected 125cc bike would be just a hell of a lot of fun. You know what I mean? And let me know down in the comment section below if any of you own a de-restricted 125cc bike, because I'm pretty sure there'll still be a few out there hanging about. There'll still be a few that are on the UK roads today, but they are not legal, okay, for learners. Right, guys and gals, so if you're on a CVT, you are not allowed to ride one of those de-restricted old style 125cc bikes. Alright, so just keep that in mind, because you might see them around on eBay and things like that. You're not allowed to ride them. You get caught in one of those things, you're probably going to get your license taken away from you. Okay, so yeah, just keep that in mind. But I bet you that there are people out there that ride these bikes to this day, and probably on a CBT with an L plate stuck on them. I bet you. So yeah, let me know what it's like down in the comment section below if you've ridden one of those compared to a modern 125, what the difference is, and if there's any difference. Because I could be mistaken here. Just because one of those old 125s have more horsepower and they're faster doesn't necessarily mean that they actually provide a better experience or they're as reliable. I don't know, let me know. Yeah, I was at the BSB in Thruxton over the weekend. It was a hell of a day out, man. I was there on race day. It was really good fun. I definitely recommend going to the nearest racetrack and having a look at what motorcycle events they've got there, especially on race day, on Sundays. If you're going to go to a BSB event, go on the Sunday. That's when they've got a lot of the... Right, sorry, you can probably hear me now, can't you? Yeah, I was just giving it a bit of a tug to make sure it was still in place. I ended up pulling it out. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, Thruxton, BSB motorcycle championships. Yeah, really fun day out. So I heavily recommend it, giving it a go, having a look at some race day weekends. Yeah, awesome event. But yeah, guys and gals, I mean, I'm just kind of making this little video here because I'm a little bit disappointed that 125s aren't as quick as they could be. They're not as fast as they were back in the day. And the thing is, like, okay, 25-30 horsepower is kind of double the horsepower of one of these modern 125cc learner bikes. But I've always said that a 125, at least a modern 125, is not big enough really to give a learner that experience that they would need to go onto a bigger bike. Right, guys, I went from a 125cc bike to a it was a Kawasaki ER6, which is these days a Ninja 650. Right, I think that was about 5 times the horsepower. Right, so I went from 15 horses all the way up to, I think it was 75 horses, maybe 72 horsepower, something like that. Right, that's a massive jump for for basically a beginner rider, you know, and it was fine. You know, they could be up to 25-30 horsepower, and in my mind I still think that they are safe enough for learners. Yes, it gives learners a little bit more opportunity to be stupid on the bikes, but honestly, you can be pretty damn stupid on a Ninja 125, a modern Ninja 125. You can be really stupid on any modern 125cc bike. Right, remember, you're still going to be able to go 70 mile an hour or more on one of these learner legal bikes. Which, you know, you can get yourself killed doing that. You can still get speeding tickets on a 125. So, you know, I don't see the point. They're slow enough as they are, you know. as much as this Ninja 125 has got a lovely amount of torque, kind of like mid to top end of the range, mid to top end of the rev range, should I say, it's still not a lot, and it's totally different to even like 300, like an R3 for example, or a Ninja 400. Totally different experience between the two, massively different, and it's a big jump. Again, it's a big jump. So giving learners access to a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more responsibility, I think isn't necessarily a bad thing. But I mean, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think down in the comment section, because I know that a lot of learners today would like a little bit more horsepower, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's okay. That's a perfectly legitimate and reasonable opinion to have. And I would have liked to have had a little bit more horsepower when I was learning to ride a motorcycle as well. It's just a shame. It's just a real shame. And I bet you it would make things a little bit easier as well when it comes to the whole electrification of smaller displacement bikes. Because it looks like, at least for some manufacturers, the whole electric revolution, the electric change to their lineup is actually going to come in the form of a 125cc equivalent motorcycle. Which is a real shame. It's a real shame in my opinion, and I'd love to see a return of those older, de-restricted 125cc bikes. Like, let's see what a 125 is truly capable of. Because on a racetrack, 125cc bikes, the 125 league that you see on a racetrack, man, they are some quick bikes. Honestly, I'm not joking. They're absolutely fantastic to see as 125s on the track. But again, they're probably two strokes, so they got that going for them. Whereas, pretty sure they would not allow two strokes anymore on on European roads. But there you go. Anyway, guys and gals, thank you ever so much for joining me all the way to the end of today's video. And as always, let me know what you think down in the comment section. Should they bring back a souped up, de-restricted 125cc motorcycle? Or is there no point? Because learner riders, well, they're not going to get a chance to ride them. So yeah, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. As always, leave a like if you like this kind of content, and definitely get yourselves subscribed. Yeah, it's nice to have this Ninja 125 back out again, guys. We've got loads of beginner content planned to shoot on this Ninja 125. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing it. But anyway, yeah, thanks again for watching. Take care, ride safe, and we will catch you all in the next video. Have a good one.